On today's IRS tax update, we will take a look at the latest developments as we now have the release date for the next batch of direct deposit tax refunds scheduled to be transmitted by the IRS. Meanwhile, the latest mass tax transcript update has been released, so we will take a look at the codes our viewers are reporting seeing, as well as a specific update for some who are encountering the 570 code on their tax transcripts, as well as the ongoing issue with the need to complete ID verification. Now, we did see the latest update to those transcripts with latest direct deposit refund date set for February 28th, as confirmed by the tax transcript seen here. Now, this particular transcript was submitted by a viewer who had not previously seen any updates on their tax transcripts before the latest update, and also was claiming the Earned Income Tax Credit. As a reminder for those viewers who still do not know how to access their tax transcripts, please watch our February 4th video for instructions. Also, for those of you seeing the 846 refund code on your transcripts, you will not always see an immediate update to where's my refund status results on the IRS website, and that is because both systems are updated separately. However, this is not a cause for concern, and you should see an update to your refund status results on the IRS website usually within 24 to 48 hours after the transcript update. However, there are select cases where you may not see an update before you receive that refund. And again, that is not a cause for concern as long as you see that 846 refund code on your transcripts. This latest tax transcript update was also good news for some of those seeing the 570 code previously, as several viewers indicated they are now seeing the 571 code listed on their tax transcripts as seen here. Now, the 571 code does signify the IRS has been able to resolve the issue at hand. And in this particular case, the IRS actually issued the refund as shown here without having to send out a letter detailing the potential issue, which would appear as the 971 code. Now, it is still possible the IRS may send a letter which would be reflected in the next tax transcript update. But this is one of the first instances we have seen this happening. However, we do maintain that most seeing the 570 code will in fact see that 971 code appear on their tax transcript at some point. But again, this is potentially good news for some who are seeing that 570 code that their situation may be resolved without the need to receive a letter from the IRS before the refund is issued. Meanwhile, another viewer who reported movement in the latest update is now seeing the 570 and 971 codes appear with the same date listed next to them with future dates of March 11th as seen in this transcript. Now that future date represents when the IRS expects the tax filer to receive that notice in the mail by informing the taxpayer of potential refund changes, and if the taxpayer does not object to the refund adjustments, that refund will be released within 4 to 6 weeks after that. Moving on to other tax filers who are seeing updates to their tax transcript for the very first time this year, and are just encountering the 570 code as seen on this tax transcript also with a future date which as of this recording is March 11th. For those newer viewers unfamiliar with this code, it means your tax return requires further examination before processing can continue. It simply could mean the IRS needs to manually verify an item on the return, or that there is in fact an issue that may require the taxpayer to submit additional paperwork to the IRS, such as a verification of W-2 or 1099 income, as we have already seen in other cases this year. Now, the future date that appears on the tax transcript next to the 570 code is automatically generated by the IRS computer system and represents a target date for completion. Again, in most cases, you are likely to see the 971 code appear whether or not the IRS can autocorrect any potential issues. Meanwhile, ID verification continues to impact a number of tax filers this year, with some having the ability to verify their identity without ever receiving a letter from the IRS, while others unable to proceed with obtaining the necessary control number listed on the letter to begin the process. Over the past week, we have heard from a number of our viewers who are impacted by this, and who never received a letter taking the initiative by scheduling an in-person appointment at their local IRS office to proceed with the ID verification process. Now, IRS offices do have the ability to verify a tax filer's identity, and this is an option for those still impacted by this to consider to potentially speed up the process. But again, you will want to schedule an appointment first and explain to the phone representative the reason you are requesting such an appointment. You can find your local office by visiting the IRS website and selecting the Our Agency option towards the bottom of the screen on their mobile site, followed by Find a Local Office. Meanwhile, other viewers who are not seeing updates on their tax transcripts and refund status results are often relying on the estimated refund date from their tax preparer such as TurboTax as a result. Now it is important to note those refund dates are simply estimates and often not reliable, and that is because none of the tax companies are linked to the IRS computer system and have no way of knowing for sure the exact processing situation of their tax status. So we ask users a result. Please do not rely on the information, as it is simply a guess and does not take into account any potential delays from things such as ID verification, W-2 and 1099 income verification, or even audits. Meanwhile, if you're still waiting for a letter from the IRS that does not have to do with ID verification, it is likely to do with the IRS needing to verify your wages and withholdings. We have heard from several viewers impacted by this who, after reaching the IRS, were informed that the IRS has still not received wage information from their employer. And why this is important is because the IRS will match what you are reporting on your taxes and compare it to what your employer is reporting. Unfortunately, there have been reports of conflicting information being given by IRS phone representatives, which leads to even further confusion. And in at least one case, a caller was told to wait up to 180 days for a letter to arrive in the mail. We do recommend once you hit the 45-day mark after filing your tax return or the start of the tax season on January 29th, whichever is later, is that you consider contacting the taxpayer advocate and open up a case. Now, the taxpayer advocate is an independent agency located within the IRS that assists taxpayers experiencing issues with the processing of their tax returns and issuing of refunds. Over the last several years, a significant amount of our viewers experiencing delays have been able to get the help they needed by working with the taxpayer advocate. After you open up a case with the TAS, you will be assigned a case manager who will work with you and communicate with the IRS on the details of your tax account. Please visit the Taxpayer Advocate Service website for additional information. Let us know in the comment section below about your ongoing tax issue. In the meantime, we will keep monitoring the situation for further developments, so make sure to click on the thumbs up and subscribe button below for future updates on this channel, and thanks for watching.